Hello everyone, Nyako here. Welcome to Moreblocks. And in today's video, I am going to launch Moreblocks version 2 and then Moreblocks version 2.5. And I have been working on this for a while now. It's taking more time than I actually wanted it to take. But then I am here with a product that I am proud of, a product that I am using now to build things for myself, to build things also for Moreblocks, and then to build things for clients too. So this is a good launch. The product itself, the version 2 of Moreblocks, is more polished. It has more swag to it. And I do personally think it is going to change the way that you build websites with breakdance. Everything within this version 2 and version 2.5 is to make sure that when you are building anything in breakdance, you never leave the builder to go anywhere else. Everything is right within the canvas. You don't have to go to the back end when it comes to actually building a website in breakdance. And that is what I want to convince you with when we start actually getting into the nitty-gritty of what version 2 is coming with. So I am thankful and I am very grateful that you joined me today. So if you want to skip this, you can skip and then you can get along and watch what the version 2 is all about and also what the version 2.5 is about. Thank you, and let's get into it. Firstly, I am going to start with how to toggle the extension using a shortcut. To do that on your browser, you have to get into the developers panel of all of your extensions. And with the browser that I'm using, which is Arch, you can do that by hovering and clicking on the extension and then managing extension. Over here, you can click on the keyboard shortcut. And from here, you are going to see the Moreblocks library version 2.5, which is what we have now available. From here, you'll see that there's already a shortcut assigned to Moreblocks. And this shortcut is Shift, Command, or Alt F. When you do that, or when you use this command on your breakdance project, you are going to toggle the extension. And I'm going to show you that. So let's go into the builder. And from here, this is the mouse. I'm going to put it on the side. And then I'm going to hold Shift, Alt, or Command F. Our extension just toggled. And then you can also close it again by using Shift, Alt, Command F to also close it. You can also open the extension by just clicking on the extension icon, which is over here. Maybe for you, you haven't already pinned the extension icon. You can do that by clicking on the extension list icon, and it's going to show you all the extensions you have, and then you are going to see a pin over here to pin it. This is dependent on the kind of browser that you're using, but for Arch, this is how you do it. All right, so that is all when it comes to toggling, opening the extension. The next thing that I want to take you through is the extension itself. For the extension, we are going to start from the top to the bottom. There are some things we are going to skip and come back to because they might need a bit of in-depth tutorial to actually explain it. But if you're starting from the top, we are going to start from right here. Over here, this icon, we are going to deal with that later on. But the next icon is your avatar icon. When you click on it, you are going to see your information, a bit of your information, not everything, but you are going to see your user email and then the kind of account or status that you are on. So over here, so you can see your user email, your plan, and whether it is active, and the usage that you have, and then your consent when you were logging into the extension. And then you can also click on this for support. And then you can also, if you want to remove the activation, you can also remove it by clicking on deactivate the license. If you want to use it on a different computer, you just click on that. So that is what the avatar does. If you do this, you are going to close it again. The next of it is an image, which tells you that the extension you're using is by Moreblocks, nothing else. All right, to the far right is this toggle. I'm going to toggle it so you can see what it actually does. So when you toggle it, it changes from light mode to dark mode. So that is what that is about. So for the tab, that is all of it. Next one is we have these three things. We have this lav icon, we have a search bar, and then we have this thing that looks like a funnel, which should indicate that it is a filter bar. All right, we are going to start with the filter. So when you click on the filter, you are going to see all the categories that are available to you. We have nav bars, you have flick cards, we do have coming soon, we have timeline, we have logos, so on and so forth. So those are the categories that we do have at the moment. By toggling one of the categories, let's say hero, you can click on this to close the filter, or you can also click outside to also close it. After clicking on any of the categories, what happens is it places over here for you to see that you are filtering all the categories. You can also see about the number of categories that you are actually seeing. So that is what it will do. If you do not want the categories, if you do not want the hero anymore, you don't have to open the filter to go and deselect it. You can just click on this to remove it and it will return back to the default. One more thing, when you toggle it, you can select more than one category at a time. So you can select mega menu, you can select nav bar, you can select hero, and you can close it. And then from here, you can just sort out and see which one you want to work with at the moment. And as I said, if you do not want to use, or if you don't want to view mega menus anymore, all that you got to do is click on mega menus and it will remove mega menus from there. If you do not want to use heroes anymore, you can just click on the heroes and it will remove it. If you want to clear it, just click on it. So that is what it does. Let's toggle one of it again. So let's toggle on hero and then let's close the filter. So let's say you have toggled hero and then you're using the search bar. So now we're getting into the search bar in connection with the filter. So let's say we do search for nav bar. Nav bar is not a hero. Nav bar is a nav bar itself. So you are not going to see any nav bars because you have narrowed it down to only heroes. But the extension will still suggest to you a few nav bars that you can actually click on to see. So it gives you options like nav bar 1, 2, and 3. So that is what that is about. So if you do categorize this down to, let's say, a particular category, it is not going to be able to show you other categories when you have filtered it down. So if you remove the category and then you do search for nav bars, you can see the nav bars came. If you search for, let's say, nav bar 12, so nav bar 12 is going to show up because you now do not have any filtering working at the moment. Let me show you something about nav bars again. So when you do search for nav bar 2, what happens is that you do see nav bar 2, but then you are also going to see nav bar 12, 20, 21, and so on. And it is logically, I think it makes logical sense that if you are looking for 2 should be the very first one, right? And then every other thing that has 2 within it also shows up just as you can see. So that is what the search bar actually does. To the left of the search bar is this lav. When you click on the lav, you don't see anything. The reason is because the lav represents your favorite, and your favorite can only happen when you click on these lav icons on our component. So I'm going to show you how this one actually really works. So let's say you are building hero sections. You want to go through all the heroes and then pick a few ones so that you can test and see how they feel. I would recommend that you do put all of the heroes that you like inside your favorite. So let's go back into our filter. Let's select heroes and then let's close the filter. Then let's put some heroes into our favorite section, right? I'm going to take a few ones. So I'm going to put this, I'm going to favorite this, go down and favorite that. I want to go also and favorite this. A few more. Okay, I do like this one too. And then I'll also favorite that one. So I have favorited a few of the heroes. What next?
If I click on the favorite icon, you are going to see all the things that are favorited, right? From here, when you click on that, you can go in and then paste it. And then the same thing with all the other ones. And after you have sorted out and found the one that you actually like, what you can do is, if you don't want to favorite anymore, you can just deselect them one after the other, and then they are gone permanently. One thing that you should also know about the favorite is that they persist until you actually remove them. So if, let's say, you have favorite and then you were building something and you had to stop building and go and do other things or whatever the situation is, but you want to come back to your favorite and use it at a particular point in time, you can just leave it like that. It is not going to go anywhere. Everything that you have favorited stays and it persists until you have removed them manually from the extension, as we did earlier on. So that is what the favorite does. It helps you organize a few components here and there to use later when you are building the extension, or to just keep for whatever thing that you want to do when it comes to like the thing that you have favorited. So that is that. After that, we do have a few set of buttons over here. I am going to click this to remove the hero. We do have a few set of buttons over here that we can go through. So the first button is new, and new probably might be a little bit more self-explanatory, right? Because it actually has to do with new components that have been added to the collection. So when you click on new, every component that has been assigned with new, you are going to see them over here. If you're done with it, you can just click back on it to remove it so that you can see a component as it is. So that is what the new does. To the right of it is all, free, and pro. So the all shows you all the components that are both free and pro. And since the plan that I am on is a pro plan, I am going to see the free ones and then I'm going to see the pro ones too. If I was on a free plan, and then I will see the pro plan, but you won't be able to copy it. So the copy component button will be replaced with something like either upgrade your account or contact support or whatever the button text might be. So that is what it is. So that is what this is about, your free ones and then your pro ones. And one thing that I also want to touch back on is if you do select pro and you go into, let's say, your filter, and then you click on, let's say, heroes, you are going to see only pro heroes. You are not going to see the free ones. If you want to see a free heroes, you can just click on the free ones and then only the free ones are going to show. If you want to see all the heroes that belongs to both free and pro, then you can click on all and then you see all of them all together. So that is what that is how you can combine all of the filters together, your favorite, your search, your categories, your free plans, all of them. You can organize all of them together to give you a more comprehensive filter search option. So that is what this is about. Let's remove the hero. All right, to the far right, we do have two icons, this list icon and then this kind of grid icon. Right now, our component is laid out in a list format, so one after the other. But if you do want it to show up in a grid form, you can just click on the grid. It's going to expand it, and then you are going to see like two components at a time. And if you're done with that and you don't want to see it no more in a grid, you can just click back on the list and it should be able to also go back into the one after the other that you do see over here. So that is that for this set of icons. Below it, we do have your sorting icons, or your sorting filter, right? And for your sorting, it is A to Z and then Z to A. And when it goes A to Z, it also numbers it from 1 to infinity. So if you do click on A to Z, you are going to see that it's going to show you all the items starting from A, going down, and you can see that banner 1, banner 2, banner 3, it is not doing that thing that you have like banner 1, banner 10, because all of them is 1. Now this one also goes in with numerical order as well as alphabetical order. And if you want to do it the other way around, you can do Z to A, and Z to A is going to show you from all the way from Z and then to A. So that is what this is also all about. Okay, so that is for the salt. Let's go back to the default one, which is this. The next thing that we have to talk about is the component itself. And for the component, there are a few things that we are going to touch on and what they do, but I think that we have already touched on some of the things within the component, so it might be a bit more faster. The first thing that we are going to talk about is the title. So there's the title, and then to the right of it, you do have your icon, which is for favoriting the very component card. So if I click on this, we favorite it, and remember that if you click on your favorite icon, it's going to show you all the things that you have favorited. We can remove that by just clicking on this again to remove it. So that is what those two things they do. To the far right, you do have this free. It is not clickable, but it tells you that a component is either free or it is a pro one. Right now, it is a free one. If I click on a pro, you're going to see that it shows as the pro button over here. Let's go and click on all. So that is what that is about. To the right of the free and pro buttons is this little icon over here. Those icons are clickable. And what if you see an icon like this? This is the breakdance icon itself. What it means is that the component is a pure breakdance component, meaning that there is no other extension that have been added to it to build the component that you are seeing. So if you do click on this, it's going to filter it down to only breakdance component for you to see only breakdance component. We have component from Destiny and Hive, and I think there is another plugin that I was able to speak to a developer with, and I'll be giving more information when the time is appropriate. So if I search for Hive, you can see that we do have the one for this is the Hero Hive, and I use the element hive to build it. So if you want to see just the hero hives, you can just click on this, and everything that is within the hero hives, you are going to select it down and you're going to see it. If you don't want no more, you can just click on it to remove it. I think we can make this more accessible, probably around this place, to for you to be able to just filter it down if that is what you want to do. And next, after these icons, is the image. So the image is self-explanatory. It shows you a little preview of what the component is about. All right. And down from the image, we have two buttons. The copy component button, which I already demonstrated. By clicking on that, you can copy a component, come back over here, paste it. And then from here, you'll be able to change the image. Select this. I'm going to close that, and I'm going to select my image.
Okay.
All right. So image kind of huge. So from here, I'm able to give it like 45 if that is what I want. So that is that. So you just copy, click, copy, add your items over here, and then you get on your way. To the right of the copy component is this link icon. And what it does is that we are going to click on it for it to demonstrate the purpose, right? Let's click on that. So for that very icon, when you click on it, it previews the component that you are viewing. And it is really important. And for this, I'm actually really proud of the extension that I have built, in the sense that by having a preview right in front of you without you going to an external website to do it, it gives you the leeway to be able to do things without like too much of a hassle, right? You don't want to be shifting through pages to view how the component look, because probably the picture is not that viewable and you don't know how responsive the component is. But you can actually view all of that over here. So we do see the component here. This is live. The reason why I'm saying it's live is you can interact with it to see the component. You can also check the responsiveness by clicking on the mobile, goes into mobile, by checking the tablet view, and then by checking the desktop again. And also what is really cool about this overlay is it responds really to a lot of the changes that you do on the extension itself when it comes to like how big or small the extension is. So let's say right now we are viewing things in our list mode, but when we do click our grid mode, you can see that this has shrunk to a place where you are able to view items over here and you're still able to preview them. So if I scroll down and I want to preview this very one, I'm going to click on that because it loads it up. It doesn't refresh your page. It just loads it. So I think it is a great addition to the extension now. It wasn't previously doable in the old extension because it was an iframe. But with this, the extension was built from the ground up. I built everything from scratch. So I was able to do what I actually wanted to do when it came to adding features, when it came to making things right for a user who is going to use it to build their component, so on and so forth. So that is what this is all about. So I think we're done with that and we can close it. We can go back into our list. All right, the next thing that we want to talk about is the last things at the bottom, because we talked about everything over here. So these last two items, we do have the refresh component and then this icon over here. When you hover on it, it gives you that you can click. But let's start with the one to the right, which is disabled now. Let's scroll down and let's say we are looking for a specific component, right? Yes, navbar 29 is really cool, right? We want that. We're going to copy that and then we're going to paste it. I'm going to open here. You can remove that one to the top. That is a mini cart. We don't have a mini cart, so that is what is going to happen. But that is that for this very one. All right, so we copy the component, whatever. At the moment, you have to scroll all the way to the top again. But you don't have to do that. You can just click on back to the top. It is going to scroll all the way to the top for you without you having to scroll it by yourself. So that is what that is also about. All right, let's talk about the button to the left, which is the refresh component. So you remember that I was talking about the new components, that when you click, you are going to see all the new components. But let's say you do not see any of the new component. You can click on the refresh component button to refresh and pull from the server any new component that has been added to the extension. So that is what this is about, and we're going to demonstrate that. I don't think we have any new component being pulled, but I'm going to show you that when you do click, it tries to fetch new components. So let's click on that. Okay, so after that, it tells you that data updated successfully. So it means that it has pulled something new from the database, from the server, from whatever that the data is coming from. But it will lock you out for about 7 hours. You won't be able to pull any new component again because of one or two things. But yes, when you click on that, you'll be able to pull new components. And then after clicking on new, you should be able to see any new component that has been added. So that is all when it comes to Moreblocks version 2, which deals really with the component extension that I have shown you. The next thing that we are going to talk about is this icon that I said we were going to go back to, and that is going to represent Moreblocks version 2.5. Now let's explore Moreblocks version 2.5 and what it comes with. I'm going to click on the icon. Okay, so when you click on the icon, you are greeted with something like this, and this looks like a color palette generator. And we're going to go through one or two things over here. You do have an icon, some text called more CSS utility. And from there, you do have color, clamps, and CSS. We're going to go through the other two, but now we're going to deal with color first. So the color tab for me serves as a way of generating palettes that you can use for your own development. So you're going to add a few colors over here. You're going to introduce your main color, and then you are going to generate pieces of colors over here, shades and tints that you can use for your own development, as I said. And you do have your hex code and then the scale or the amount of color that you want to generate. And then you do have the color wheel over here. You do have the value sets over here. And then you do have the colors that have been generated. And you can save these colors, or you can just click on this to copy the colors. All right, so let's test this out. So we do have colors over here. We do have the hex code, which is being dynamically generated by moving your color wheel, right? And then we do have the generate or the scale over here. So let's push this one over here, and then we are going to change this one up to a 10, which is the max that you can generate with a scale. So this is what we got. From here, we can even go through this granularly and then change things up. So first, we can scale this down to change the color, right? Change it down to this way, right? And then we can even drag this all the way back. And then we can also turn it into an alpha item. So this is for your value set, right? This is for your saturation. And then this is for your alpha channel. So if you want to change this one down to the alpha, this is what you do. You can rise this up like that. So this is how you use the color wheel with the slider sets over here, or the value sets that you do see me sliding over. So after doing that, you can save your colors. And then you can click down here and then you can see all the colors that you have generated. You don't have to generate 10. You can generate also a 5 or a 3 or whatever. So let's say we generate a 4, and then we can also save that. Or we can change the color to something else, and then we can save it into our palette like this. From here, you can click to copy them. When you click on any of these colors, you can copy them also. So that is what that is about. But then you might be asking, what is the use? After generating a palette, what do? You go into your designs and then you can apply them, which is cool, right? But it is a lot of work, and you want to make things a bit faster. So the reason why you save it is to use it for a later purpose, and also to use it for something that I'm going to show you right now. Let's click on this icon and go into your global settings. And for your global settings, let's go into color, and then let's open the palette. Right. So after opening the palette, remember, compare the colors over here to the colors over here. So we do have every color that you saved. We do have them over here. Let's say we close this and then we remove the green that we saved. We open back the palette. You can see that the green has been removed. We only have the 10 colors from this shade of blue, this navy shade of blue that we generated. So we do have 10 colors here. So what I'm going to do is I want to create a 10 color palette to use in my design. The colors over here you can use in any of the designs because they are not added internally into breakdance. But that is what we want to do now. So I have 10 colors here. I'm going to create 10 color palettes that I can add these colors to. And you can see that we added a really cool additions over here, which is it makes it simple for you to add colors or the palette section. Remember, for the normal breakdance, you'll be able to only add one. So if I click on one, this is what we can do. We can only add one at a time. But with this addition, let's say we want to create 10. So we have one already. I'm going to add 9 and then click on add color. It added 9 other palette placeholders that we can add our colors to give us the 10 colors. So that is what this is about. It gives you the opportunity, or it is a function that makes it simple for you to create the placeholders so that you can add your colors. All right, so that is what that is about. And then you might be thinking, okay, so do I now go in and manually copy the colors and add it to the palette? If you want to do that, you can literally do that, but you don't have to. That is why you have this button over here. So this copy and paste colors button, when we click on it, it is going to magically copy the colors from here and add them into the placeholders over here. I'm going to show you how that is done by clicking on it, and I'm going to wait. You can see that from here it is calculating it, and it tells you when it is done. It tells you that it's done. So when we go check it, all the colors that we do have here, this is all down here. But that is not done. Let's say we have deleted everything, right? And then we are going to add another 10 color sets. And one thing that you can actually also do to add the colors into these places is by clicking on the color itself. When you click on the color, you copy the color, and you also inject the color into the position that it should be at. So this is position number 1, and this is position number 10. If I click on this, it's going to add it to number 10. If I click on number 3, it is going to add it to number 3, and it indicates over here that I added it to number 3. So that is what the color set is about. Let's click on copy and paste color, and it's going to copy and paste all the colors again. All right, so we added all our colors. So then the question might be, how do you use it? You use it by how you use every other color set in breakdowns. So if we do click on our section, we can go into backgrounds, and then we can click on this to pull out all the colors, right? So let's give it this color background, or you can give it this color background. You can give it this color background, or this. You see, very simple for you to do. So that is what version 2.5 is bringing when it comes to creating your own color set. You can add all the colors. You can give it the number of colors that you want to add by setting the placeholders over here, and then just click on copy and paste color, and it's going to do the rest for you. And you can go into your own development and add the color to your development as we have done. So that is that when it comes to the color set. Okay, the next thing to the right is the clamp. Let's click on the clamp. All right, so for clamp, what this is that you can generate clamps for your own development. So if you are building a website and you want to use clamps, you can create them over here and use them to build your own website, to use whatever place that you're using them. But you can use this in this way. So first and foremost, over here is a preview of it. And then you do have your minimum font, your maximum font, your viewport width, your maximum viewport width. So let's say we want to create a hero, right? I'm going to duplicate this text, drag it to the top, and then let's go into design, go into typography. I'm going to align it to the left, and let's take some of it out. So let's copy the rest of the bottom, and then it should be good. All right, I think I want to also change the layout to be on the left. Okay, I think that's fine. All right, so then let's come back into our clamps. We want to create a hero that has this between the sizes of 76 and then 120, right? So the largest size is 120, the smaller size is 76. So 76, you're going to get some errors telling you that you have to make sure that this is creator, and then 120. And it's going to, you see the preview over here. So this is how big the text is going to be like. Okay, and then from here, you can set your viewport width. If you want to use the default, which is 320 to 120, you can just leave it like that. If you want to change it, most of the time I do like 360, and then mostly I do like 1440. So there's what I do but most people might do 1920, and then also 320. So that is why that is the default. But for me, this is what I'm going to choose. After that, you can just click on this, copy the clamp, come into your development, right? So let's click on this text, and then in here for font size, we are going to remove that, change this one to custom, and then paste it. Voila, right? Let's go into size. I think there's a size over here, so let's remove the size. So we do have something in this arena, which is kind of huge. Pause. So that is what we do have for the clamp. One more thing that you can also do is you can save your clamps. So when you go here, you see that our clamp has been saved. I think one thing that I didn't talk about when we were in the colors, which I'm going to point out right now, is to the left of every saved clamp is this little dot. When we go into colors, you can see it has also this little dot over here. What this dot actually does is when you click on it, it removes the saved color from the storage. So you can click on that to remove it. And then you can see that there's also a set number of colors that you can save, which is 15. Going back to the clamp, the same thing happens over here. If I click on this dot, I am going to delete this generated clamp. Let's click on that to demonstrate. Click on that, it is gone. Click on this, we saved it back again. And then when you look at the save clamp, it shows you the minimum, the maximum, the minimum, and then the maximum. If we do change this one to 1920, and let me save it, it's going to show us the 1920 as pixels. Okay, so that is what that is about. One thing that you cannot do is you cannot save the same clamp more than once. So since we just saved this with a difference of 1920, if we click on save again, you're going to get an error saying that this clamp is already saved. You can save it more than once. It will become redundant. You'll be occupying space that you don't have to occupy. So that is that for this very one. But one more thing that I want to show you is, let's close this. Let's say you want to build out a set of clamps to use continuously when you are building out your things, right? Okay, let's click on typography, and then let's open presets. Then let me close this and open it again. All right, so when you open presets, what happens is everything that you have saved over here is added over here for you. So you can go in, just copy them and use them for your development. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to also add a few presets for the typography that I can just copy this and add into it. All right, and you can see that we do also have this multiplier thing in here. So if, let's say, we have 2, I'm going to put 2 over here and just click on add preset. It's going to add 2 preset right there. And with this, we can copy this, open this up, font size, click on this, change it to custom, and then paste in what we just did. So we do have a preset. We can call this one, which is, I think that is the first one. You can call it 76 pixels, and then 1440 pixels, right? Maybe there's probably one way that I will save it to make sure that it is, or you can make sure that you put the 120 somewhere for you to see. And yeah, whatever name that you want to save it as. So you can do that over here. And the next one, we can copy this again, come back, or maybe you can save it with the clamp name. It's kind of huge, but yeah, you understand what I mean with that. So you can save with the clamp name too. All right, and then you can come back into your font size, go into custom, and then paste it in there. And yeah, you will done. Then to use it, you can just close it and just use a preset as you use it in every other breakdance development. So let's click back on this, go into typography, and then this manual color set that we did over here, we're going to go into presets, click this down, and then we are going to change this one to one of these. So let's call this one this, right? We can even change to this. So that is what this is about. So from here, if you go back into your presets, you'll be able to make granular changes like line height and stuff like that. So let's say line height of 1. I think we want to work on the second one, right? Line height. So line height of 1. Yeah, everything is working, right? Let's save that. So that is what that is about. Generating clamps, saving the clamps, using them over here. And one more thing that I want to share with you also is, let's say you have saved your clamps like this, right? Let's click on this. And then you do still have your clamps here. No doubt about that. Let's delete everything, delete, and then delete. And then let's add the 2 again, right? Click on preset. Okay. So for this, what I want to show you is it's a more easier way to be doing this. So let's open preset 1. From here, I am going to call the very first preset, this one. I'm going to call it by typing SC-1, and then I'll click enter. So what I did was I used a shortcut to call this from the storage, and then it just inserted this over here for me. All right, so we can do the same thing when we go into the font size too. So I use this for the name. I can use this also for the font size. But remember, when you want to use custom clamps like this, you always want to change your pixels to custom. So it means that you have to click more than once to get there. But what if there is even an easier way to do it? So I'm going to focus on the input field, type in CU and click on enter. When you do that, you change the pixels to custom, and then you can erase the custom, and then you can call the function that you have saved for the clamp. So we want to call the very first one. So I'm going to type in SC-1 and click on enter. So it is going to pull this one. All right, let's save it. And then this is the second one. So for the second one too, we want to call the second custom clamp that we have saved over here. So SC-2, click enter. It brings in the second clamp. And then for here, font size, let's do SU, remove everything, and then SC-1, save. So it pasted this one in here too. And if you want to go in and make granular changes over here, let's say we want to change this one to line height of 1, and then we want to go back, change this one also, click on advanced, change line height to a 1, then remove it. So we do have this. We can then close it, go back into our development, click on preset, and then choose the very second one, or you can choose the first one, whatever works for you. So that is how you can also do it. But you have to remember, I have shown you a few shortcuts within the twinkle of an eye. I showed you how to change your pixels to custom by typing in CU and just clicking on enter. I showed you how to also call a sage clamp from the storage by using the save, the SC, which means save clamp, and then the number which is the first clamp. So SC-1 is going to pull the first saved clamp, and then SC-2 is going to pull the second saved clamp. And as I showed you, it works everywhere that you do have an input field. If you do not want to use a preset, you want to use your own, whatever that you have over here, you want to call this one straight into your development, you can do the same thing too. So CU, enter, change it to custom, SC-1, click on enter. So it works this way too. All right, so I've shown you a few shortcuts here that are pretty good, but there's more shortcuts that I want to show you, more shortcuts. And that is where if this one comes into it. So let's say you are working, you don't want to save anything into your preset. You just want to keep working, whatever the idea for working for you is. You can actually create clamps without ever coming to the side of the development. And I'm going to show you how to do that too. So let's go in here, remove what we've done over here. And then in here, let's go into custom, right? So custom, and let's put in a few numbers. We have 76, and then we have 120. And then these are the values that we have set. So with this, I'm going to type in 76, 120, and then I'll put double dashes, dash, and click on enter. When I do that, it creates this also for me, the clamp on the go without me ever coming to this very part. The 76 and the 120 that I use does not mean it's not connected to this 76 and 120. We could have used a whole different number. So let's go in and use 86, 114, and then dash, and then enter. You are going to get also a value. It calculates the clamp for you by using the shortcut that I just showed you. So you need your first number, you need a comma, and you need your second number, and then you need the double dashes. When you do that, you will never have to come over here and do all of the things that we did. You don't have to save anything here. You can go in straight and then do your clamp. So you can come into your preset over here, click on this, then let's say we are going to remove everything from here. It tells you that there's no save clamps, right? Let's go back into this, and then with this we can also say that first and foremost, let's go into SC, right? So we can have the custom, and then let's call the two numbers. Let's say 75, 120, dash, and then click on enter. It just calculates that for you. You can go into your advanced, change this one to line height 1, close, and then you can go into your preset, choose that, and then that's it. You never have to come over here and do all of that. So that is a shortcut for you to create clamps without using this interface. You can use it within the very input field that you are working with. So that is what that is about. So everything is within the builder, and that is mostly something that I was thinking of when I was building this thing out. Everything that you want to do is right within the builder for you. You don't have to go outside. You don't have to go to a different page. Everything is right in front of you. You can work right now. You can start working right now without you setting up anything anywhere. Straight to the point, and you can get things done. So that is pretty good. So we have done that, and we do have this over here, and we are not going to touch it anymore. So that is that when it comes to the clamp function. But there are a few more shortcuts that I want to talk about before I go to the next thing when it comes to version 2.5, which is also really cool. All right, going back into our custom, still with our font, right? I'm going to remove this. And then let's say that you are into RAMs. RAMs are more accessible. They help with accessibility more than pixels in some places when it comes to like fonts and gaps and stuff like that. So you want to make sure that you are calculating your RAMs properly. But not everybody has a RAM calculator on the go, and not everybody knows how to calculate things by 16. Most of the time, you might be using the calculator on your phone, using the calculator on the computer. What if you don't have to do that anymore? There's a shortcut to actually achieve this, and I'm going to show you what the shortcut is. So let's say you're over here, your font size, you want to use this one using RAMs. So what we're going to do is, let's choose a number, let's say 86, right? 86 pixels. So 86 pixels is fine, but 86 pixels is not accessible, and it's also not fluid. RAM is also not fluid. Clamp is more fluid. So, but you want to change your 86 into RAMs or REM. How do you do that? You can go on your phone, calculate this, and then you should get a number. But you can also just type in your 86, add 2 dashes, and then click on enter. When you do that, it calculates the RAM for you and it pastes the number over here. So that is how you do actually calculate RAM, by putting your number or inputting your number, adding 2 dashes, clicking on enter. The number changed from pixels to RAM. What if you want to use EMs? You don't want to use RAMs anymore. You want to use EMs. Same thing, but just with 1 dash. So 86 with 1 dash. When you click on enter, you are going to get the EM of your 86 pixels. So that is 2 more shortcuts that I wanted to talk about. The pixels to RAM and then the pixels to EMs. Hopefully you'll be able to use these shortcuts, and remember, the shortcut can be used anywhere there is an input field. So if you are working in your preset and you want to add, let's say 15 pixels into RAM, you want to use that for something and you want to save that. So let's say 15 pixels, right? Then you can go into your font, just type in 15 dash dash, and then that is it. So 0.935 REMs is what 15 pixels is. And you didn't have to do any calculation you want to do that. And with this, we can go back over here. We select this, go into our preset, and then I can choose the 15 pixels one. And that is it. So you do have this saved, and it's 15 pixels, and it is more accessible, and you did that on the fly. So that is all when it comes to the clamp. I hope I didn't forget anything, but if I did, I might put them. There will be a documentation with all of this explained, and it should be on the website as soon as possible. All right, the next thing that I want to talk about is the CSS, and this is going to be a lot of fun. A lot of people asked me within emails whether there was going to be something like this. I was thinking about it. This is not a full-fledged thing, but it is something that is a good start, and it can help people that are already at a place where they want to use some variables. So let's get into CSS variables. Let's click on CSS. Okay, this is going to be good. Let's save this. No. All right, so we are here in the CSS panel, and when you click on CSS, it opens this a bit bigger, because you need a bit of real estate to see a few more things. And we're going to start from the top to the bottom. Yeah. All right. So this is a refresh CSS variable button. And what it does is it refreshes if, let's say, you have changed a value within your CSS variable list. When I click on this, it refreshes it. And if it has also been changed within breakdowns itself, it refreshes it. Okay, so let's click on this. We do have these colors over here already. Wait, let's actually deal with this very well. So this enter prefixes is mostly it mostly comes down to, let's say you do have a list of CSS variables that you want to see them visually over here. If you add them to the root file, you'll be able to pull them using their prefix name. So if you don't have any CSS variable, you add them to the root file, you call them up here. If they are colors, you see them being identified this way in this format. And you can just put them over here, click on prefixes, and it's going to pull them and show them visually. So that is what this is about. Okay, first let's demonstrate how the CSS the refresh CSS variable works. Over here, you do have only 3 colors. This colors is being pulled from breakdowns itself, and it is associated with this very color set that I showed you previously, your color palette. Over here, we do have a list of blue, dark navy, or navy blue color palette. It has nothing to do with any of the colors over here. So what we are going to do is, since we don't have any of these colors and these are previous colors, we want to refresh to pull the new colors that we do have over here. So to do that, we can close this, click on refresh CSS variables. When we click back, you can see that it has pulled these colors in the color palette. It has pulled them. All right, it has pulled the color palette over here, and from here we can talk about what this is actually is and what you can do with this particularly. So with this, what you can do is it gives it these numbers. So BC4, BC5, BC6. So these are shortcut numbers. And if you remember, I showed you a few shortcuts previously, meaning that with these shortcut numbers, you'll be able to also call these colors using this very shortcut. So when you call these colors, it is going to pull the CSS variable. Remember when we did type in SC-1, it did call the CSS variable that we have for the save claims. So that is what it is. So by calling these very shortcuts, you will be able to call this variable over here. And I'm going to show you how that works. So let's find something a bit bigger. So we have colors here. Remember, these colors are already available here. So you can just call them by clicking on this color palette. But if you do not want to do that, if you want to use a shortcut, you can click here, do BC-4 and click on enter. It is going to call the very first color, which is this very color. And then it showed you that it pulled this color in here. All right. So that is how that works. So for the colors that are added into the palette, this is how you work with them. You can work with them directly using this set, which is the native way within Breakdance, or you can call it by calling the shortcut code, which is BC let's say 3. Sorry, BC-5, right? Yes. So BC-5, which is this. And then sometimes too, you can see that there's a bookmark on them telling you that you already used the color, so on and so forth. So that is what that is. By calling these colors, you are actually able to use them within your development. But that is not where even the fun part is. Let's close this. You can also change the name for this if you want to do that. But I want to go to the very next thing, which is extract all variables, right? You remember over here, I was talking about you adding your own variable preset to see them visualize over here and to also give them shortcuts that you can use within your development, right? Now, you can do this on a more automatic level, meaning that you do not have to add them individually. If you do add presets into, or if you do add variables into the root file, which I'm going to show you when the time comes how to do that, you can pull all of the variables by clicking on extract all CSS variables, and it's going to extract them and it's going to paste them over here, and you're going to visualize all of it in this way. So that is what this does. We haven't gotten there yet because we don't have anything in our root file, and I'm going to show you the root file. All right, the next thing is enable of variable overlay disabled. When we do click on this, it is going to enable a variable overlay here that you can use to navigate your variables more properly. But we are going to get there when we do add root variables into our root file. And that brings us to the last button, which is copy root template. So this copy root template is a list of variables that are created that you can use from now to start building your own website. And let's click on that. So it tells you that root template copied to clipboard, meaning that we can go and paste it into our root file and start using it. Let's close that and then go into code. Click on add style sheet, and then let's open this. All right, so we just copied the root template. Let's paste it. So this is the root template. So the root template comes with predefined variables that you can start using to build your own thing. And it starts from 12 pixels to 16, 14 to 18, 16 to 20, 18 to 24, so on and so forth. And all of the font sizes are already in clamps, meaning that they are very responsive on huge and small screens. You also do have your padding sizes, you have your margin sizes, you do have your border radius, your spacing variables, if you have gaps, you have your border width itself, and you have a line height. Those are some of the things that you might be using. So these are some samples that I have already created. But remember that you still do have your color, you have your clamp, that you can generate your own color set. If you want to add manual colors over here, you can generate them over here and then just add them as you want. Give them the variable names that you want and then just add them, and you'll be able to use them within the CSS variable manager. So that is that. We have our root file, and I want to also talk about a few things over here. Within the root file, there are some things that you should make sure are always available if you want to extract the root variables, and that is this things over here, especially this one. If you remove it, you won't be able to extract your root variable. Listen and listen carefully. If you do remove FMB start extraction true, and then when you go down, you do have FMB and extraction true. If you do remove those things, your extractions wouldn't work. So if you want an extraction to work, you have to make sure that it is within the confines of the start extraction variable and then the end extraction variable. So anything that is within here can be extracted and used. I hope that makes sense. So we've added our template. I am going to close it. The next thing that you want to do is you want to extract them. To do that, you first have to pull it by clicking on refresh CSS variables. And after you have done that, you can just click on extract the variables. It might still say no, right? Let's try extracting them. Oh, sorry. One thing I didn't do is I didn't save this. Did I save that? But let's do this and then let's try extracting them. Okay. So a few more times, what there, 1 or 2 words. But that is what we've done. So we have extracted everything that we do have here. We have extracted them to here, and we are going to review them to make sure that they are correct. The first thing, it is sorting this alphabetical order. That is why you do see this. So the first is it is starting with, let's go up. It is starting with the border, right? So the border radius. So when we bring it down, you can see that it gave it a border radius of BR-1, border radius none, 0 pic or 0%, BR-2, border radius, whatever, go down from B1 to B5. Close that. And let's review the font sizes. So these are the font sizes. Let's open that. So with this, it doesn't show you the entire clamp. That would be ridiculous, right? So it shows you the minimum and the maximum. So 0.75 rem and then 1 rem, 0.875 rem and then 1 point whatever. So this one starts from FS1 going all the way to FS12 and so on and so forth. If you go into the other ones, you can see that it also does the same thing. It shows you the item. We don't have any color here. That's why we don't see any color associated here. Okay, let's close that. So the question is, what can you do with something like this? And you can do a lot. Let's minimize this. And then let's save that. You can do a lot with it. Remember when we were talking about using presets, using whatever, if you do not want to use any of these preset things, right? And you want to use variables, you already have variable within your root file. See, there's a style sheet in Breakdance that everything that you put over here, every preset that you do create, every color palette that you do create, it is stored in that style sheet. That is why we are able to do all of this. It's because of the style sheet that is within Breakdance. So with that style sheet, anything that we do add, so when we go into custom, right, and then we can remove the font size, Remember that you are able to call this one with, you can bring in custom, all right? And then you can type in, let's start with font size. So we have FS1. You can call FS1, FS-1. So it called the variable, which is this, and then it put a bookmark over there. All right, we want the biggest one, which is this FS-12. So we can go back here, remove this, and then type in FS-12, which is 12, a big sized one. And then we can go into advanced. This is already in custom. If we want to deal with our line height of 1.2, go into advanced, click on this, and then let's add a line height. So LH-1. It called in the line height for us, as you can see. So that is what this is about. So that is what this is about. You are able to call all of these using the shortcut. But then it is really when I did this, it was like, oh wow, this is really like a good idea. But I was like, oh, maybe someone might not want to be doing all of that calling. You have to have this panel open all the time. And not everybody has a big screen like what I do have. I have a 32-inch screen. And sometimes you might be on the road. You might be working with a very small real estate laptop or whatever that you're working with, right? So that is why we did also create the variable overlay. So I'm going to show you how that works by clicking on this to enable it. So variable overlay enabled. Let's close this, and we can even close the extension. So what variable overlay is going to do is it is going to pull everything that we did save in the CSS variable, everything that was extracted. It is going to pull it, and then we will be able to see them right on our screen without even having to open the extension on the side. Let's check that one out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on here, and the variable overlay just activated. So what this does is you can drag it to any side that you want, right? You can drag it here and you can start using it. We are in our font size. So let's scroll down to font size, which is this. But before we even get into it, let's explore some of the other parts of this thing. So it just tells you available variable IDs that are available. So the shortcuts, the ones that are available, you can see them here. And then over here, you do have something called show values. What show values does is it shows you a preview of what the variable is. So with regard to color, it shows you a preview of the color that you do have. When it comes to the border width, it shows you the numbers associated with them. Sorry, the border radius. When you go into your border width, it shows you the numbers associated with the border width. And then your font size, it gives you the maximum and the minimum values when it comes to the clamp function. And yeah, when you go down, it's just numbers. The numbers just keep going. But when you do this, it makes the scroll a lot, right? Not everybody might want to do that. So what you want to do is toggle this away, and you are just going to see the pills over here that you can just click to do whatever that you want to do with. So if you remembered, we are still focused on the font size, and we are going to demonstrate it. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this one. So when I clicked on it, you can see how it just inputted the variable right there. And I can go back, choose number 4. It's going to put number 4, number 5, number 6, number 11, and then number 12. What if you do choose something that is not a color? Sorry, something that is not a number. It is going to use the default number size, but it is still going to put the value over there. So if you do click on the color variable, it is going to add this, but nothing is going to actually happen because that is not a number when it comes to the root file that we do have. So we can go back and then choose a real number, which is a font size, by clicking on that. Okay. One thing that you can see is anytime you do click on a number, there's a little flash, right? There's a little flash because what happens with breakdance is for you to be able to change. Let me show you something. So the default for every font size is pixels, and there's no way for you to manually to automatically change everyone to custom. You can do that. I hope one day we'll be able to go into the preferences and then check something and say that our default value is custom. But right now you can do that. And because you cannot do that, we have to actually first change the pixel to custom. And then after that, we have to add the value, which is the variable, into the input field. That is why you do see a little flash when it comes to you clicking on the numbers. So when we go back into our font size and we click on number 12, you can see that it did add that, but it wasn't a flash because it's the first one. When you click on number 2, you can see that there's a little flash. It goes into the original size and it pops back again. It's not the most beautiful thing, but at the moment, that is the only way to achieve that. When it changes, I will update the extension accordingly. So that is what that is about. So we have changed this thing to a few numbers. We can go back into here, and then with this, we can go into color and typography. Go back here, font size of this. Let's say, let's toggle the value. All right, let's use this, right? 1.5. It's not bad. All right, we can take this one out too. And if, let's say, you can see that this font size already has custom, so you do not want to inject custom. You just want to inject the value because the input size is already in custom. You can uncheck this, and then when you do click on it, it is just going to input the value without inputting the custom. But there's still like a little flash in there, but that is what that is. So if you are starting first and you're working with some of these things, you can make sure that pixel to custom is checked for you to be able to inject the custom first before injecting your value. So that is what that is about. The last thing over here that you might have seen is this very thing. And what is it about? So everything that you clicked is stored the value over here for you to use later on. And for me, the purpose of that is very simple. Let's say you are building a site for a client. You used the template that I gave you, but you are done with the development, right? You do not need some of the things that you never used, but you don't know what you used and what you never used, right? So what is going to happen is that when you do click on this, it copied everything, every pill that you clicked on, it stored the value in here. So let's close this, go into our code, click on add sheet. This for demonstration purposes. Then you can paste it here. So everything that you did work on has been placed over here, and probably in the near future, this will be grouped properly so that this very one is not included in your font sizes. So it has better grouping and more comment added to it. So that is what that is. So with this in mind, you can then use this rather than using the big file that I gave you previously. So you can just go here, remove everything from here, and then use the smaller one that I gave you. And when you are done, that's it. You save it. One more thing that I want to show you. Clicking back here to show you the overlay. You can see that these things, or this over here, is mostly generated by the machine. Maybe you might not want all of these. You want to put in your own thing so that you can remember. What you can do is, let's close this, open the extension again. Let's click on this icon, go in here, and we can go into your font size, which is what we want to work with, right? And from here, you can actually change how this looks. So let's say we want this is small, right? So XS. So you can do XS, enter. And then over here, you can do SM, enter. You can also do another SM, enter. Oh, sorry, this is You can use the name more than once. So, and this is MD, right? And this is LG. This is XL. So yeah, you can just keep going on changing the name if that is what you do want. So that is that, and we can save it. All right, so from there, if we do go back into our selection, it might not populate at the moment, or it already populated. All right, so everything that we did change over here in our font size are already populated here. So you can see that you have XS, you have SM, you have MD, you have LG, you have XL, so on and so forth. So you can give it names that you do want, but what you cannot do is you cannot give something the same name. You cannot say that because this is Borda, you are also going to give this one XS or MD or SM or LG. That one you cannot do. These are already associated with the font size, so you cannot be associated with the border width. Right. It is because you might want to be using the shortcuts later, and you don't want the shortcuts to conflict with each other, because the input field for your border width is not different from the input field for your font. They all have kind of the same class, so it is very difficult to differentiate between them when you are working with it. So that is what it is, and that is how the builder is built. So we are using it as they have given us. So mostly this concludes the entire thing for version 2 and version 2.5. We have talked about a lot of things, but one thing that I actually really am proud of will be this preview section, and then this variable overlay over here, and also some of the very shortcuts that we have already discussed, like changing pixels to RAM, calling the stored values, and so on and so forth. So I'm actually really proud of what I've been able to build, and this is what I've been using recently for testing purposes to try and build out and see how fast I can build. And by using the template that is given, you can even boost your workflow even faster than it is. Let's say you're using a framework that, like, you're using a framework somewhere, or you went and you copied a bunch of CSS variables from somewhere. You can add them inside your roots, as we did over here. You do not need to add any of these items. You don't have to add any of the commenting or anything like that. You just have to make sure that the very first two names in the variables are the same if you want to group them properly. If they are the same and the third one is not the same, that is good, because you'll be able to group them according to the very first two names. So from there, you can put them into, you can refresh them and pull the variables, and then you can extract them. And after extracting, when you enable the overlay, when we click this, we disable it. So when I click here, it doesn't show, right? So when you enable the overlay, you'll be also able to use the overlay and then go around with it if that is what you want to do. So this is this for version 2 and version 2.5. And if you are on a pro plan, everything that I talked about, you'll be able to enjoy starting today. If you are on a free plan, you are confined to only using the new component layout and nothing else. Everything else that is within the 2.5, when it comes to the color generation, the clamps, and then the CSS, you won't be able to use that if you are on the free version. So the paid people on the paid plan can start enjoying every feature here, and then other updates that will be coming in the future. Also, if you haven't received your API, please check the emails that were sent out. Please check your spam, or you can contact support at moreblocks.com if you're having any difficulties when it comes to either logging into the extension or having access to your API. If you are if you are on a free plan and you didn't get an API or telling you that you have been granted access to the extension yet, you can also email support, and then within the subject, just put in API request for free user, so that I'll be able to connect you to your API and then your email, and then you should receive an email with your API with it automatically telling you that this is your email and blah blah blah. So thank you very much to everybody that was patient for this. Thank you very much to everybody that has already purchased Moreblocks. Moreblocks is becoming a family that is bigger than what it is, and there is more to come. So hopefully you'll be around to enjoy all the good things that I have in mind for each and every one of you. Thank you very much.